For many, the God of the Old Testament seems like a figure of wrath, a deity who commands his people to wage war and utterly destroy entire nations. This is one of the most difficult and challenging aspects of the Bible for modern readers to reconcile with the loving God revealed in the New Testament. The pages are filled with stories of conquest, slaughter, and the command to devote to destruction every living thing. So, why did a God of love and mercy command so many wars? The answer lies in understanding the unique context of the time and the nature of God's justice. The wars in the Old Testament were not random acts of aggression. They were divine judgments against nations that had descended into a level of depravity that was an abomination to God. As we mentioned in our last video, these cultures practiced human sacrifice, child sacrifice, temple prostitution, and extreme forms of idolatry. This wasn't just a different way of living. It was a profound rebellion against the very foundations of human dignity and morality. The wars were God's way of surgically removing this spiritual cancer before it could infect the entire world and completely corrupt humanity. Another crucial layer to this truth is the concept of a holy people and a holy land. God was establishing the nation of Israel as a light to the world, a people set apart to reflect his character and preserve his truth. The land of Canaan, which he promised to them, was not just a piece of real estate. It was a sacred place that had been defiled by the wickedness of its inhabitants. The wars of conquest were a means of cleansing the land, making it a place where a holy people could live and worship a holy God without being corrupted by the surrounding evil. It was an act of divine purification. Finally, we must understand that these Old Testament wars were a unique historical moment that does not apply to us today. God is not commanding nations to go to war in his name now. The Old Testament is a story of God's patience and his judgment, but it is moving toward a revelation of his ultimate love and grace. The wars of the Old Testament serve as a powerful backdrop for the ultimate story of a God who would one day come not as a warrior, but as a suffering servant. He would absorb all the violence of the world into himself on the cross. The Old Testament wars are not a manual for us today. They are a timeless reminder that our moral compass is not the final word, and that we must always seek to understand God's heart, even when it isn't comfortable.